Hey guys, what's going on? Sherman here. And I'm very excited to bring this knife review to you guys today because this is a knife that I'm going to have a lot of fun talking about because I really like this knife. And you guys know that when I really like a knife, I enjoy talking about it. You know, I'm a knife lover. I love talking about cool new knives. And this is one I've been excited about and anxious to do a review on. And I know a lot of you guys have also been anxious to see this on camera more and, you know, to hear my opinions and thoughts on this knife. So without further ado, this is my review of the Benchmade 375 SN Adamas. SN being short for sand, which is what Benchmade is calling this coloration, which is gorgeous. I absolutely love that color. Designed by Shane Siebert for the Rangers. So this was designed from the ground up to be a pretty hard use tactical / utility knife. As you can see right here. And the cool thing about this knife, or one of the many cool things, is that a portion of the proceeds from buying this knife and also its folding brother is a portion of the proceeds go to fund the Ranger Assistance Foundation. So it comes with this little card and it tells a little bit about that and has a little thing about the knife. As you can see, there's the folding version. Is right there. Adamas, Latin for diamond, Greek for invincible or unconquerable. And that suits this knife very well. And also, USA proud. This knife was made in the USA and all the products that come with the knife. Also on the back right here, it has a QR code. If you have a smartphone, you can scan that. And it'll take you to a video made by Benchmade that shows you how to cord wrap the handle like that. And like I've done right here. So that's very cool. There are a few videos on YouTube of how to do it, but in my opinion, the one actually put out by Benchmade is probably the best. So, very cool. I'll talk a little bit more later about what all comes with this knife. So let's put the sheath off to the side for a second. And let's just talk about the knife for right now. Right off the bat, like I said, that beautiful sand coloration. It's like a desert tan. And it's looking a little bit darker in the camera than it does in person. In person, it's much more of a kind of a khaki. It looks a lot like khaki that Maxpedition puts out. So if you guys are familiar with that, it kind of looks like that, but a little bit more matte, if that makes sense. But it's just a gorgeous coloration. And you really do not see that a lot on these tactical knives. I know that Spartan Blades puts out a lot of knives with this same tan coloration. But their knives are really expensive, and this knife is very affordable. But I'll get to that in a little bit. So, right off the bat, I love the coloration. This knife comes in two other color combinations. You can get the black blade with the sand-colored sheath, or you can get the black blade with the black sheath. So, you have a few different options with that. So, that's very cool. You can kind of mix and match, I guess. Very, very sexy blade. Alright, so like I said, full tang construction, as you can see, just one solid piece of D2 tool steel. And Benchmade does a pretty good job with their D2. I really like it. So D2 tool steel, I think it's a good choice for this knife. Nice drop point blade. Very nice. The blade is just a little bit over 4 inches long. So I think it's a really, really good utility size and could obviously be used defensively very, very well. But it's just a very nice drop point blade with a lot of belly. You really don't see that much on drop point blades. So you have a lot of belly for utility work and for doing the sweep cuts or slash cuts, whatever you want to call them. But like I said, obviously it's going to aid in utility work, possibly food prep if you need to or want to use it as that. Overall, this knife is just a little bit over 9 inches, 9.3 to be exact. So, I mean, as you can see in my hand, it's not a huge knife, but it's also not really a small knife. So it's got a really, really nice size to it. I really like it. So, you can see it is a saber ground blade, the grind starting about mid-spine. But as you can see, Benchmade has gotten a lot better at this. their cutting bevel is set back just far enough so you actually get a pretty thin cutting edge, even on both sides. If I can get the light. Yeah, Benchmade has done, they've really made strides in their edge geometry. It's a very nice edge. It came very sharp. It came with a toothy edge, which is my experience with most D2 steel knives, is that most of the time they come kind of toothy. Now, what does that mean? It just means that the edges were not polished and really smooth. The edge is very sharp, but it has kind of a bite to it, and it will appear to kind of rip through paper instead of cleanly slice it. And that's the kind of edge you would pretty much want for most utility purposes, because it really bites in to the material and cuts excellent. But I stropped it up, and it has a very, very clean cutting edge now. And that's all it took, just a little bit of stropping. Don't really have to worry about rusting, not with this coating. I have not seen any spots on the edge yet. I say yet because it's still possible, D2 being not very rust resistant. So you can see the Benchmade logo right there with the model number, USA. And on the back, you can see clearly marked D2 and Siebert's logo. I'm assuming that's his logo, it just says Siebert Design. Another thing people have been asking me a lot about is, what do I think about these serrations? Somewhat, not controversial, but there are people who either really love this serration or really hate it. I, myself, am on the side of really love it. That's right. I really, really love these spine serrations. They are very effective in really making this knife excel in what it was designed for, utility work. You know, a lot of people were disappointed that it's not a flat spine so they can do batoning. Well, this knife wasn't designed to be a bushcraft knife. This knife was designed as a tactical utility knife. So in that application, this is great. Also, while I'm talking about the spine, the knife has a sharpened swedge right by the tip. Now, how cool is that? You really do not see that often. You do not see that very often at all. So it is a sharpened swedge up top, making the tip of the knife absolutely needle-like. It is scary sharp. For a fixed blade of being kind of adequate thickness, it's about as thick as an Azula, so what? 3/16 or like 1/8, something like that, inches thick. Just a needle-like tip, which is great for penetration for what this knife was designed for, or one of the purposes, to be a tactical knife. Use it for piercing, and it also aid in a lot of utility work. You know, digging. A lot of people talk about like digging out splinters. It works really, really well as that. So really like that. You don't see that often. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way before I forgot. So the serrations, I've really never seen a serration just like this, but I really, really like it. It's kind of, I guess you can consider it a V-ground serration, whereas most serrations are kind of are chisel ground. They're only ground on one side. This is sharpened on both sides. So you can resharpen these pretty easily. So they almost look like the heads of a chisel with those, and then you have those milled out cuts right there being staggered, kind of like a jigsaw. Just really cool looking. And they are very sharp. Very sharp. And this would be good to be used for cutting plastic zip ties, like maybe for quick cuffs. Because like I said, this is designed to kind of be used tactically. So this is good for cutting plastic. It can cut paracord pretty well, but since the serration tips are staggered apart so far apart, it doesn't really do a terrific job at cutting things like paracord, you know, thin pieces of rope, but it would cut thick pieces of rope really well. And also, you can use this as a saw. You can use this to saw through small tree limbs. I've tried it, and it works really well. Now, I wouldn't try to saw anything thicker than maybe a half of an inch in diameter, but it does work. So you can use this for some outdoor bushcraft tasks. But like I said, this was not designed as a bushcraft knife. If you want a knife that's going to excel in outdoor use, just get an Essie. This knife was designed to be used in a tactical role or for utility. Which is, of course, I've been using it just for that utility. So, I really like the Serrations. So you always have to keep in mind, the back of your head what a knife was designed for. Alright, so back here you have a finger guard, which is really nice. You have a really deep choil that is actually jimped on the inside right there a little bit. So your hand is not going to come forward. I really like that finger guard design. A nice small thumb ramp up top with, what's this? Functional jimping on a Benchmade? That's right, this is really, really functional jimping. You can see my fingernail going white from how hard I'm pressing against that, and you can see the marks. My thumb is not sliding forward. One, it's a Benchmade, and Benchmade is known to do, quite frankly, really crappy jobs at jimping their knives. Plus, this is a coated knife. Most of the time, coated knives, the coating rounds off sharp edges and it makes jimping really slick. Very sharp jimping, which allows you to get a lot of control with this knife for doing precise utility work, or like I said, be used tactically. So, really nice. Also, you have a small swoop right here, which is just perfect size to put your thumb to do some really fine work, some intricate work. Maybe you're trying to whittle something, cut something out of a magazine or whatever. So you do have a small place to put your thumb to press down to get a little bit of added pressure when you're cutting, which is nice. And the tip of your thumb does come kind of dangerously close to that first tip to the serration. So if you're concerned about it, you could round that off with a Dremel. Just round that one sharp edge off, and then that won't really be an issue. I can't see your thumb coming forward enough to that really cut you. Because I'm pushing my thumb in as far as I can go while still gripping the knife like you're supposed to. And my thumb only goes over that first point right there. So it's not really an issue. I think that was designed really well. So it's not really an issue whatsoever. The handle design is really nice, very straightforward, flat up top pretty much, kind of has a slight curvature to it. And then you have down here a big finger choil with a palm swell, and then like what I call a pinky choil. So it gives you a really nice secure grip, and then it flares out towards the bottom. And there's a small run of jimping right here at the very base of the handle for going in reverse grip, which the knife feels very nice in reverse grip. Like I said, you put your thumb right there, your knife isn't going anywhere. Because most military style of knife fighting, they train to reverse grip the knife, which I think is smart. So it feels excellent in reverse grip, feels even better in the forward grip. Hammer grip, very comfortable. Great ergonomics. Now, there's one caveat. This knife does not feel that comfortable without the paracord wrap. It is just a little too thin in my opinion. It's kind of uncomfortable. So I would highly recommend cord wrapping the handle such as I did here, and you can see just how much girth it adds to the handle, and it is outstanding. Now, this paracord came with the knife. This tan colored paracord comes with all the versions, if I'm not mistaken. Even the black bladed versions comes with this. It's actually kind of a coyote brown paracord. If I'd have to estimate, I'd say it comes with about 5 or 6 feet. It came with enough to wrap all the way down to here. So that much paracord. There's a lot of paracord in this handle. Obviously, if you had to, you could unravel that and use it. Like I said, it's about 6 feet of paracord. So that's a really good amount. Now, one modification I made is I added just 3, you can see there's just 3 winds around with some of my own cord. And that is because when I'm gripping this knife, my pinky was hanging off of the woven pattern here. It was just hanging out right there, and I just didn't feel like I had adequate control, and it just felt kind of awkward. So I just did a little small wrap around there just 3 times with some paracord, just to give it a little extra beefiness to it, and it's perfect. It also kind of goes into the fat of your palm, and it just gives it a little bit extra comfort. So the knife feels incredible with the cord wrapped handle. Its paracord's always warm, has that, you know, the warm feel, whereas the G10 or micarta will get cold when it's cold outside. So you don't have to worry about that. Obviously, if it gets wet, it can dry out really quickly. Now, the paracord will retain the moisture a lot more than G10 would, but I'm not really worried about underneath it because it is a nice coating on this blade. So I'm not really worried. Like I said, there are video tutorials by Benchmade on how to do this wrap. It's pretty simple. It took me a few tries to get it to look uniform, but it is a really cool looking wrap. Don't you agree? But obviously you can wrap this knife a few different ways. So you don't have to do this style of wrap. That's just the one I recommend because it gives a nice swell. It gives a really nice palm swell. So, very nice. I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, but the knife overall is 9.3 inches long. Don't know if I mentioned that, but I wanted to go ahead. What's the weight on this knife? Now, I'm not sure if this is the weight with the sheath and tech lock. I'm not sure. But the weight from Benchmade is 5.6 ounces, which is incredible. That is a really, really nice weight for a knife of this size. And I say this size, not that the knife is huge. You would just expect, you know, a 9-inch overall knife to be a little heavier. So that's a really good weight if you are backpacking or you're putting this on your gear, which I actually have this mounted to my chest rig if you've seen some previous videos. Alright, let's talk about the sheath real quick. It's an injection molded polymer sheath. It's really thin. I like that. There's not a lot of extra beefiness, I guess you could say. Not a lot of extra sheath. It has a small drainage hole, which is really nice. Plenty of holes for mounting options. Lashing it to whatever you want. It is a retention sheath. A nice snap. So very nice. There's really no wiggle with this sheath. On mine, you can kind of push it out a little bit, and there's not really a lot of rattle. It's a good sheath. I would honestly prefer Kydex for two reasons. When I first got this knife and I would pull it out, the serrations caught on the inside of the sheath and just dug a line on the inside of the sheath. I don't think it would do that with Kydex. There'd be a little bit of looser fit, I guess. Tolerances would be better. But it's, like I said, it's a good sheath. It's lightweight. Like I said, it's slim. It can accommodate tech locks, molly locks, anything. The Wiedemann pup, which I have it attached to on my vest. It has a small screw right here. It's a Torx screw, T6, I believe. And what it does is it squeezes the sheath together to make the retention tighter if it gets loose. Or if the retention is too tight, you can loosen the screw, which is really nice. I really like that. Now, obviously, since this is plastic, that's going to wear out over time, whereas Kydex would not. Not really, anyway. See a flare right there? It squeezes the finger guard. That's what keeps it in place. It takes a bit of a tug to take it out, which is nice. I really like that. It gives you a little bit of a thumb ramp right here. So it's very nice. I really like the retention. It's a well-made sheath. Now, it comes with this little bungee strap with two buttons on it. The button snaps go on both of these. Just kind of pull it. It's harder with this cord wrapped handle. And that makes it jump ready, certified, because I believe for something to be jump certified, you know, to jump out of an airplane or a helicopter with it, which the Rangers do, I believe it has to have two locking systems. So it is ambidextrous, so whatever side of the body you carry it on has rigid nylon. You just pop that off, pull the blade out. One downside I want to mention about this sheath is that under stress, it would be easy to pull the knife out in a swooping fashion like that and catch the edge on that metal pin. But I haven't done it yet. That's just something to be conscious about. The knife also comes with a Blade Tech lock and obviously all of the hardware for it, which is really nice. These are about $12. So it's really nice that it comes with it to mount on your belt, backpack straps, and even some molly gear. So really nice system. So you get all that, plus the paracord, plus a USA-made Benchmade knife, D2 tool steel. And what do you pay for this? Well, the retail is about $130 to $150, which is still a good price considering how much you get for your money. I, however, highly recommend you buying this knife off of knifeworks.com. I got all this off of knifeworks.com for about $85 shipped. For $85, I don't think you can afford not to own this knife. KnifeWorks is a certified Benchmade dealer, and they have coupon codes listed in the description of all of their Benchmade knives for about 30 to 35% off. So I highly recommend you buy this knife off of knifeworks.com. Love this knife, highly recommend it. It is an incredible knife, very well made. You get a lot of stuff with it, and it just looks good. Plus, you're helping the Rangers out, guys. All right, hope you enjoyed the review. If you have any questions, post them in the comments box, guys. All right, stay safe, stay sharp, and God bless. Sherman614, peace.